conversation is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Now, I brought you that breaking news that a federal judge in Texas has struck down, and it's a marriage amendment. It's a part of their state constitution that the voters of Texas went to the polls and they said, for as far as domestic policy is concerned, we, the people of the state of Texas, we want to protect the institution of marriage as the union of one man and one woman. We don't want to recognize any counterfeits, any ersatz marriages. We only want to recognize and uphold and defend the genuine, real, authentic article. We're about authentic marriage here in the state of Texas. Federal judge, one guy, again, this is tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. This is tyranny, overruling, disenfranchising the millions of Texas voters that went to the polls and decisively, overwhelmingly said, we want to define marriage in our state as a union of one man and one woman. Now, here's what I hope. I'm hoping, because I think the key to breaking the back of the gay lobby, because they're using the courts now, they've given up on the ballots. We talked about this yesterday. They've given up on using the ballot box. They know the American people are not with them. They know if they went to the voters of Texas and said, we want to give you a second chance to vote, we want to give you a chance to vote for same-sex marriage, they know they're going to get exactly the same result. People of Texas are not ready to enshrine same-sex marriage, so they are going to the courts. They're just bypassing the people. They're bypassing the legislatures. They're not even trying to work with the elected representatives of the people anymore, and there's no need to do it. They can get these activist, tyrannical judges to do their dirty work for them. So here's my appeal to to Governor Rick Perry. What we need is we need a governor that will stand up to this tyranny. We need a governor of a state like Texas, a governor like Rick Perry, who will stand up to this tyranny, this judicial tyranny, and who will say to the federal judge, I am going to defy your order. The people of the state of Texas have spoken. We followed the democratically prescribed process in our state constitution. We have established public policy, and I am not going to allow you to disenfranchise the voters of my state. Now, I don't know what happens in Texas. I don't know what the process is about getting a marriage amendment on the ballot, but usually they have to go through the state legislatures as well. Now, I don't know if that happened in Texas or not. I know in Idaho, when we got a marriage amendment as a part of our state constitution, it had to pass with supermajorities in both the House and the Senate, the state House and the state Senate. We got that done. It passed with over 75% of the vote in both of those houses, and then the people simply had to approve it by a majority vote. But it had to go through the legislature. Let's assume, again, I don't know for a fact, but let's assume that the marriage amendment in Texas went through the state legislature as well as being passed by the people. That means this judge would be ignoring not only the will of the people, but the will of their elected representatives. And so, Governor Perry, I implore you, defy this judge. You say to the United States, you say to this federal judge, you've issued your ruling. Now let's see you enforce it and uphold the state constitution, Governor Perry. Uphold the Constitution of the United States, which gives no authority, none whatsoever, gives no authority to a federal judge to overrule the results of the elected representatives of the people or the people themselves. There's no authority in the Constitution whatsoever for a federal judge to dictate marriage policy to a state. That is reserved for the states. Even the Supreme Court said last summer in their DOMA ruling, as bad as it was, even the Supreme Court said in America, we reserve definition of marriage issues for the states, not for the federal judiciary. So we need a governor who will stand up to this kind of tyranny and say it's not going to happen on my watch, not going to happen in the state of Texas. As long as I am governor, we are not. And here's how it works. The governor says we are not going to issue licenses to same-sex couples in this state. Why? Because our state law and our state constitution prohibit it. I am not going to violate the law of the state of Texas. I am not going to violate the Constitution of the state of Texas just because a tyrant wearing a black robe tells me I have to do it. Not going to do it. We do things differently in Texas. We're going to stand our ground. And I, as the governor of Texas, I will not allow a federal judge to impose the tyranny of same-sex marriage on the state of Texas. So we need a governor, and maybe Governor Perry is the guy. Maybe Governor Perry is the guy that'll do it. He'll just stand up to and just defy this federal judge. He will uphold the Constitution, And again, I want to reiterate, I want to stress that if Governor Perry were to do this, he would not be defying the Constitution. He would be upholding the Constitution. It is this federal judge that is in violation of the Constitution. And Governor Perry, because this is a completely unconstitutional ruling on the part of this federal judge, Governor Perry, as the chief elected official of the state of Texas, who has taken a sworn oath to uphold not only the federal Constitution, but the Constitution of the state of Texas, he has no obligation to submit and surrender to this blatantly and egregiously unconstitutional ruling from a federal judge. In fact, he's got an obligation, I would submit. He has a solemn, sacred, legal, and constitutional obligation to defy this federal judge. Now, what is this federal judge going to do if Rick Perry says we're not going to do it in the state of Texas? And I think the judge has issued a stay, so there's time for appeals. And I know that Greg Abbott, who's the Attorney General in the state of Texas, will file an appeal. But what happens if that appeal fails? What happens if we need a governor to say, look, it doesn't matter what the federal judiciary decides. It doesn't matter. Even the Supreme Court itself were to issue a ruling that we had to honor same-sex marriage in Texas. We are not going to do it. We are going to uphold the Constitution. We're going to uphold the laws and the Constitution of the state of Texas. We're going to uphold the federal Constitution, which gives absolutely no authority of any kind whatsoever to Congress or to the Supreme Court to dictate marriage policy for one of the states. We've read the Constitution. We've read the Ninth Amendment. We've read the 10th Amendment. We've read the Supreme Court. We've read your own ruling last summer that said this is an issue for the states to decide. We're going to act on that. We're going to believe it. And so we need Governor Perry to issue a directive to county clerks in the state of Texas: do not, under any circumstances, issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. They would be illegal, and they are unconstitutional, as well as being illegal in the state of Texas. So that's my appeal to Governor Perry: stand tall, stand strong. That's about the only way that I know to defeat this this federal tyranny. We need a governor with the titanium, enough titanium in his spine to stand up to this kind of tyranny, and perhaps Governor Perry will be the guy. One other item before we go to the phones: 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840 is the number. Happy to have you join the conversation. Here's another egregious ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. A federal appeals court ordered YouTube on Wednesday to take down an anti-Muslim film. Now, it's not really an anti-Muslim film. It's this. It's the same film that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton blamed the Benghazi attack on. It was all about this anti-Muslim film. That's the reason that our 4 diplomatic personnel are dead, and we know now it had nothing to do with it. But a federal appeals court has ordered YouTube to take that video down because one of the actresses in the movie has received death threats. Let me get to that part in the article. Let's see. Now, the actress was complaining that she did not know what she was in for. Now, I don't know if she didn't read the script, but she's claiming that her voice apparently was overdubbed and she had no idea. She was just a puppet in this deal. Well, I don't know. I mean, if you sign a contract, you read the script, you act the script. I don't know how then that you complain, because you do that of your own free will. But according to this story, where is that in here? There's a section about death threats. Subjected her, this is what the judge says. This is this Alex Kaczynski. This guy's an uber left-leaning judge in the Ninth Circuit. And he said in his ruling that her appearance in the film subjected her to threats of physical harm and even death. Now, let me ask you the question. What does this reveal about the religion of Islam? I mean, that's what this story really ought to be about. It shouldn't be about YouTube. It shouldn't be about a federal judge censoring this film from release. You know, and I viewed it. It's pretty schlocky, frankly. I mean, it's a very amateurishly done thing, but it tells the truth about Islam, and it tells the truth about Muhammad. There's nothing inaccurate or untruthful in the video. Everything it says is the absolute truth about Muhammad. So here's a movie that tells the truth about the founder of this religion, and somebody who acts in the movie is subjected to death threats. To me, the real story here is what that reveals about the religion of Islam. All right, well, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Kelly in Bow Bridge, Louisiana. Kelly, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to express how proud I am of my governor, Bobby Jindal, for going beyond the black-robed judges up to Obama and saying he is not a king nor an emperor. He is someone that was put there to follow the laws of our Constitution ordained by God. And that's all, and I still love you, Brian, even though you don't like to talk about electromagnetism.
So are you the guy with the magnetic rings and all that kind of stuff? Well, listen, Kelly, I appreciate it. And I also understand what you're saying about Bobby Jindal. He's a guy that I really, really like because he'll lay it out. He'll speak the truth, and he will stand for it. Bobby Jindal might be another one of those governors that would have the courage, along perhaps with the Governor Rick Perry, to stand tall and stand strong and uphold the Constitution of Louisiana, uphold the Constitution of the United States, and defy a federal judge who would order him to recognize same-sex marriage in Louisiana. All right, Kelly, listen, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's go to Mac in Tifton, Georgia. Mac, I might have to hold you over the break. Got about a minute left, but so I don't want to cut you off. I may bring you over. But what's on your mind?
I was just agreeing with everything you say, Brian. As far as the governor in Arizona, and what you talking about, Rick Perry, why don't every governor, every Christian stay behind her and go like she does? There's 33 states, I believe, has not approved gay marriage yet. Mm-hmm. Why don't they all stand up and say that?
Well, and that's what we need.
If we all did it, I think we would.
Yeah, well, I agree, Mac. I agree, and I appreciate your call. Thank you for that.
I thank you for your program.
All right, thank you, Mac. I appreciate that. And the reality is that's why this is tyranny, because 33 states in America have laws or constitutional amendments that prohibit the recognition of same-sex marriages, and these federal judges tyrannically are trashing every one of them. Focal Point, AFR Talk.